Hi, Ben here from Trident Fly Fishing, back with another episode of Talking Trident, where we take your questions and answer them right here on our channel. Today, we're going to be going over the controversial topic of which is better, a welded loop or a nail knot. Now, I have a confession to make. This was not a question that was actually asked by one of our viewers, but it's actually a question that comes from me. And the reason is that there's a very popular video on another channel about how to set up a fly reel. And in that video, the presenter claims that you should in fact take your welded loop and cut it off. I think that's crazy. In this video, we do a little bit of research of our own to prove that in fact, you should never cut off a welded loop.
I wanted to briefly interrupt this review to let you know that this video is supported 100% by your purchases at Trident Fly Fishing. So if you're in the market for some new tackle, check us out at tridentflyfishing.com.
Now, before we get started, if you're an absolute beginner, you're probably wondering, what is a welded loop? Well, this is a welded loop. It's quite simply a loop on the end of your fly line that can be used to attach your fly line to your backing or your leader to your fly line. And ideally both. And if you don't know what a nail knot is, it is a knot that essentially does the same thing. You can attach backing to your fly line with a nail knot, or you can attach a leader to your fly line using a nail knot. It's a knot that's been around a really long time and has definitely been proven and has its fans. But as you'll see, the welded loop is in fact the better option. And I'm going to give you 5 reasons why. Reason number 1, welded loops are stronger, and they're not a little bit stronger. They are 38% stronger. And we know that because we threw them on our universal testing machine and tested them. Your average welded loop breaks at about 25 or 26 pounds, whereas your average nail knot breaks at about 17 to 19 pounds. The other benefit to a welded loop is that you can attach a blind splice, which in previous testing, if you're interested, you should definitely check out our backing shootout on our blog at tridentflyfishing.com. The blind splice is by far the strongest knot to attach backing to your fly line. Now, reason number 2 to never cut off a welded loop. It's easier. You don't have to tie anything, you just do a quick loop-to-loop connection. Not only that, if you want to switch fly lines, you can undo that loop connection and just do it again. You don't have to retie anything. Reason number 3, it's more consistent. Even if you're great at tying a nail knot, sometimes you slip up a little bit. That knot is going to break at varying strengths depending on how well you tie it. It's an easy knot to tie, but it's not the easiest knot to tie. So there's going to be some variation there. With a welded loop, the manufacturer has done that on a machine that does it the same way every single time. Reason number 4, welded loops are smoother. Now, this directly contradicts that video where he claims to have broken a rod by using a welded loop. That's nonsense. When attached properly, welded loops are extremely smooth. And in all the fishing I've done across the world, I've never caught a welded loop on a guide and definitely have never broken a rod due to a welded loop. Nail knots, on the other hand, are bulky. And while I also have never broken a rod using a nail knot, there's definitely no benefit on the smoothness scale to use a nail knot. Now, if you're a competition Euro nympher and you're tying a needle nail knot and using some solar res to lock that in, sure, I can maybe see that argument. But for 99.9% of us, welded loop is the smoother option. And last but not least, reason number 5 is you have paid for it. You just bought a fantastic top-of-the-line fly line that's got welded loops on both ends, and one of the things that you paid your $100 or $130 for is for these 2 welded loops. And the reason is they're just better. Tell us what you think about using welded loops versus nail knots by leaving us a comment in the box below, and don't forget to send us your questions for the next episode of Talking Trident. I'm Ben. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.